What's going on, everybody?
Hello.
We're here. It's Triple
LeBron James.
This is Triple P. We're called Pigskins, Pork Rinds, and Podcasts. And we're going to talk to James and Jeff here, as usual. We're going to go over a few things, some pros and joes.
It's in my nose, James.
some battle standings, and then get an idea of the better playoff picture.
Let's dig right into it. Who's our first pro?
All right, we'll go to Jeff here. We're going to go Chase Claypool. He's on Elliott's team, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Chase Claypool, he is a rookie. He, honestly, from the first couple weeks in, he's been lighting it up. Not a lot of people believed early because there's Deontay Johnson and Juju there, and all three of those guys are producing, and Chase Claypool, the rookie, is looking like he is a must-start.
Well, B-plus book report there, I'd say.
All
Let's
right.
move on to the next.
All right,
Grading me, huh?
James, we're going to go.
All right.
James, we're going to go with a Joe. Zeke Elliott on Dallas.
Zeke Elliott. He has been a kind of a conundrum all year long. The breakdown of the offensive line has been a problem, and that led to Dak's injury. So we saw them losing their number one quarterback. That only compounds. So Ezekiel dealing with that is one thing, and then
you would think he would pick up some of the slack.
You'd think he'd pick up the slack because he'd be dependent upon more, but that hasn't necessarily been the case with the breakdowns of the offensive line just being so awful.
Well, and the quarterback's so bad, they just put 8 guys in the box
and they
Zeke's
stack
not
the
going
box.
anywhere.
Exactly, and then you see Ezekiel basically putting up weeks of like 8 points or 6 or even 3 points this week, and he becomes a number one overall pick in for some teams becomes basically unplayable.
All right, I'm gonna cut you off. We're gonna move on to a Joe. James also. We're going to go with Robinson on Danny's team. He's Jacksonville.
Oh, Robinson. Wow, that was a great pickup by
Robinson.
Danny. James Robinson at the beginning of the season. I actually drafted his cohort, Chris Thompson, because there was a big mystery out in Jacksonville of who was going to be the number one guy. I didn't even know. I was like, when I was looking in the draft, I didn't think about the Jacksonville situation. I didn't even think about the Jacksonville running back that he picked up, Robinson.
Overall, solid.
James Rob, and his name's James. I maybe should have thought about it.
With the Y?
No, not with a Y. But all the same, I went Chris Thompson. I ended up dropping him, week 1, week 2, because that's how quickly James Robinson took the reins and just have been running with it. Now he's a top 12 running back week every
higher
week.
than top 12. Tommy traded. He got Tyreek Hill for James Robinson in his other league.
In a different league.
Wow, that's a lot.
James Robinson's like top 5 running back. Right?
All right, Jeff. We're gonna go with a Joe.
Okay.
Kenny Galladay, Detroit, Uncle Jimmy's team.
Kenny Galladay, I think he's only played about 3 to 4 weeks. Every time he's played, he's put up like 15 points, which is good, maybe even a little bit more, but he's only played 4 weeks, and we're at week 12, so he's just been sitting there on my dad's bench, every week he thinks he's going to play, but he doesn't play, and
he ends up not.
So that's why he's a Joe, just hasn't been available.
Was he the finger? No.
Hip.
Finger. And Matthew Stafford's,
Deontay Johnson,
he's a decent quarterback.
All right, I got one more Joe, or one more pro, I'm sorry, and we're going to go to Jeff also.
Cool.
He's on James' team, Herbert, quarterback.
Oh my God! So James was waiver wire 1. I was waiver wire 2. I'm licking my chops like, oh my God, I'm about to get Justin Herbert. Wake up the next day, didn't get him, and I'm so disappointed. James is lucky. He probably will win the league because he has Kyler and Justin Herbert throwing up 30 points each week. But that's like I just said, Justin Herbert's throwing up 30 points each week, and James has 2 quarterbacks doing that. So Justin Herbert definitely an all-pro Super Bowl level quarterback.
Huge.
James, also on your team, but he's a Joe, Le'Veon Bell. What happened?
Le'Veon Bell, that's been I actually got excited when he got traded, or cut rather, from the New York Jets, and he signed with the Chiefs. I'm like, he's going to get new opportunities elsewhere. Then he signed with the Chiefs. He was behind Edwards-Helaire, who you have, believe. Yeah. I offered you a trade right away. I'm like, he's going to turn your guy into a bum.
Yeah.
I'm like, here, take this. And I give you some sort of pins. I'm like, here, take this pity trade and give me Belair, because surely Le'Veon Bell will be the number one bell cow.
You tried to flip-flop.
I tried to get set him up.
I did not know that.
It didn't work. But all the same, Le'Veon's just been putting up stinkers for the most part. However, last week I had to depend on him, and in a spot, he managed to put up 10 points, which is what
he really got a touchdown. He didn't get many carries. Hilarious.
He did not get much.
The bell cow still. What else we got, Tim?
We got one more Joe, and you can both talk about him. Poor Austin, Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas. I mean, what can you say about a guy who punches his teammate in the face and loses? That's right. And loses game time to that. But also, to be the number one wide receiver out in the, he was like 380. He was using God-tier points. Such a fall from grace from his consistency last year to this year's inconsistency.
The best ability is availability, and he hasn't been able to play. So and now Taysom Hill is in, and I know he still got targeted by quite a bit, but still not Drew Brees. So we'll see what happens with Michael Thomas going forward.
A lot of players that surprised us, and a lot of players that failed us. But let's get into the meat and potatoes. The battle for 5th and 6th place. Myself, Danny, Elliot, and Jack, we are in a fight for. I know you guys can't really see, but we're just gonna talk about it and take a look at the screen here. Myself, Elliot, and Jack are all within 6 points for. That's going to come down to the wire there because if it's obviously our records are very similar, but after this week it's going to come down to who has more points.
You can't count out Tua's task force in 8th place either with his 5 and 6. He gets a win against me, which is he needs a win.
Yeah,
he's going to put himself in a contention to be able to get his place probably by points 4.
If Danny wins and Jack or myself lose, it's going to come down to points 4.
I must say,
so you have to assume one of you and Jack.
One of us is making it. Yeah, this is the wild card game. What did James call it?
Wait, you're playing who?
I'm playing Jack. You called it the first playoff game.
It's the first real playoff game. Is Danny's playing Jack? Whoever wins that game is for sure in the playoffs.
Whoever loses
is probably out.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably out, but not necessarily.
Yeah, and I guess you're right.
Because there is a possibility that even the Jamaican shamans fall from grace.
That's something to talk about. They have a chance at making
the
bye week. They could be on a bye week or out of the playoffs.
What strikes me as odd is them sitting in 3rd place at 7-4 are not a lock to make the playoffs, but me with one less win at 6 and 5, I am.
You are pretty locked because
you need to win. You still need to win. If Danny beats
you, if I lose, I'm in trouble. But points 4 puts me at such an advantage.
Yeah,
because I'm nearly 80
We're not
points
going to catch
above
it.
the
Nobody's going to put up
closest.
200.
So it's just all top 6 spots are. It's still very volatile. What can happen? I think that's really cool though. We have a lot of parity in our league. I mean, you have 4 teams that are 6 and 5. Danny at 5 and 6. So I think it's really cool that this last week it's coming down the wire. That's why we're hanging out.
Yeah, 8 teams vying for the last 6 spots. And then from there, it's going to be cut down to 4 real quickly, and then to 2.
Yeah,
who's going to be left standing?
The Shamans.
Who's going to take the cup and get the new?
Take a look at the streaks, James.
The new cup.
The Shamans with 2 losses in a row.
2 losses.
Look at that. Teddy with 5 wins in a row. Holy cow.
2 was task force. Danny with 4 losses.
4 losses in a row.
And Teddy 5. Yeah, wow.
So that's pretty crazy.
But I just want to... Because
wait. What's the interesting trend, though, because I think this is the most interesting matchup, maybe, Corn Shuckers versus Union Pier. Tommy with 2 wins, and Jack coming off.
I feel like you're the guy from CNN.
Let's look at that matchup real quick. Can you flick over that matchup?
The projection. This just
before we shut it down.
Let's jump over.
So I think this is maybe the most important matchup here. So right now projections are indicating 116 points for Corn Shuckers, Tommy's team, and 118 points for Jack's team, Union Pier Machinas.
So
this is going to
Jack. So we just looked at this about 10 minutes ago, meaning Jack just checked his lineup because Fitzpatrick was down here for camp. Jack reunited with Fitzpatrick. I know he probably is half chub right now. He's so excited to get Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He's a scary person to play. He's got Kenyon Drake. Jake's gonna
look at that waiver wire pickup in Mike Davis over on Tommy's side. That's a great pickup. Look at this Curtis Samuel over on Jack's side. Justin Jefferson, another great waiver wire
Marvin Jones Jr. was a disappointment for me on Thursday though.
But he's Josh Allen. That's a great quarterback you got going. Meanwhile, he's got Cam Newton, which I'm not so trustworthy.
I think he's got Young Ho too.
But Young Ho he's been RB2 some weeks.
I think Tommy. In my opinion, I think Tommy has him at running backs, Edwards-Helaire and Mike Davis. And then I believe he also has him at quarterback. So I'm going with Tommy on this. I'm going with Tommy on this.
Go to the bench. What do you think about Jack sitting A.J. Brown?
What?
I know.
It's a Danny move.
Darrell Henderson also sitting. Andy Dalton bench put up 12 points. That's interesting. Look at his bench. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Dak Prescott.
Austin
Eckler did pick up 2 of those.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Is Austin Eckler back?
Austin Eckler's
might be back. If I throw him in, I'm throwing him in. But
so Eckler might be back for Tommy. This is such an interesting matchup.
It's going to be a fun game.
Anything can happen. Jake has been doing it all year, so we'll see.
Jack's pulling it off. I would be lying if I didn't say I'm
2020 fantasy football Union Pier Football League season on the line. So, week 12. What's going to end up here? This is amazing. Let's go.
What other matches we got, Tom?
I think that's it. Let's end it.
That's one of the cool matches. It just blows my mind, and we made my note.
That's my down.
If James Elliott and Jack or I win, and the Jamaican Shamans lose, it's going to come down. They have the potential to not make the playoffs.
Which is
going to come down to points
for how dominant they've been.
It's just weird. This season is weird because normally the gap is bigger. between points 4, and there's 3 of us within 6 points 4.
Did we cover all your little points there?
We did. We went around. We went around. We did
our
a good
last
job
final
here.
thoughts here. Your guy for GM of the year.
GM of the year. I mean, Jamaican Shamans have been great. Teddy's always good, so I feel like I can't pick him. Teddy's always good. I'm gonna go. It's close between Elliot and my dad. Mm-hmm. But
well, it's the case for your dad. He had such a strong draft. Like made 1-2 moves.
Totally.
And then what's the case for Elliot?
Elliot was going to be my pick.
Killer.
Dak Prescott got hurt. Nick Chubb got hurt. Raheem Mostert got hurt. He's only been really rocking Tom Brady
and he
from
found
quarterback. And he's looking like he might get in the playoffs here. So I think, and he still has a good team.
I think that Danny's got to be a mention because he's made some great wire moves. I think Jack's made some decent great wire moves.
Jack's having a great year.
But Jack's also had the most picks of the apple. If you look at the waiver acquisition, he's like 39 or 50 picks of the apple.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous.
We can look at that up. That's actually fun.
He still needs the answer.
He
still needs the answer.
Am I also too terse to suggest myself as maybe being GM of the year? I get Herbert. I get
some great
sandbagging. His James strategy sandbags the first 3-4 weeks and then gets the best waiver wire pickups.
Let's go by moves.
I mean, I'm not. I think there's stronger
candidates. Jack's got 55 moves in first place there. Danny in second with 41.
Wow.
He's made 14 more moves than
Danny and Jack battling all year.
I think those are. You gotta look.
And then let's look at the other side. Jamaican Shamans. They're in third place and they've made 2
moves. Stephanie Kyle with 7 moves.
Teddy first place, only 12. I got 14 myself. Uncle Jay with 18. James 19.
Yep.
We got Elliot with 23, Austin 25.
But
Jeff's up there, 32.
Dude, he was at 50 moves a few days ago.
Yeah. Jack's making 5 moves a day.
Please go to the recent acquisitions.
Final thing we'll look at here, boys and girls. But click league.
It'll be right here.
And click right here. No, back there.
Oh, someone grabbed Mitch. Someone grabbed Mitch Trubisky.
Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy.
Dad,
we forgot to mention that.
Wow, Mitch Trubisky's back. He's back. Dad picked him up. He needed a quarterback. He cuts Jimmy G. Garoppolo.
Jeff, what were you saying earlier? We all were pissed about Trubisky.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say,
in the beginning, and then we were like, get Foles the hell out of there.
I gotta say one last thing, though. The great thing about our Superflex this year is it's made quarterbacks great again. It's made quarterbacks great again. I do have to agree with Jack. Brought up a point that maybe we bring up a 2 quarterback limit next year, and maybe that introduces a few of those guys who are on the benches, like a Carr. Who else is on benches? Who are non-starting quarterbacks? A Carr,
Baker Mayfield,
a Dalton. I mean, these guys they come back to that, and all of a sudden you flood that with more options. Daniel Jones. I thought you had a guy too. And Elliot has another guy, and then
I have a third.
No, Elliot doesn't have any quarterbacks.
But yeah, I think 2 QB limit would benefit everyone in the league. So
yeah, because it forces you to on their bye weeks use one of your wide receivers.
But interesting too, in using some players have used their wide receiver or their running back as their super flex to a huge degree.
Teddy did it last week.
Game changing degree sometimes. So I mean that's the great beauty of the super flex, which I'm finding. I like that we've had basically 2 lock spots for running back, 2 lock spots for wide receiver, and then you have 2.
It's been fun. It's been fun, and we'll see. Teddy just lost Joe Burrow, and anything can happen. Spots 1 through 6 all can change tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
So without further ado, it's
Saturday!